So, integrated business plan. I have a few challenges here. First of all is to make the presentation a bit shorter. That should be easy. Second one is to try you not to be bored. That's not that easy. And the third one, I'm the first brave to make a live demo. So far we've seen a lot of videos, a lot of PowerPoint presentations, but now it's time to see some actual product working. Some of you already know to get it. Some of us have never been seen to get it. Hopefully you will see it working properly. Anyway, so the idea basically is what are these trends and challenges that many people have already mentioned here. I will not go repeat absolutely everything that was said, but basically this is a time where we need speed, we need data to make decisions. We want the CFOs to be really business partners helping the operation, and very fast response and accurate responses as much as we can. So this is the key for IBP. And collections of problems that most of you know about your budgeting systems. It is too low, it is hard to model, businesses are hard to model. Yes, businesses are hard to model. Hopefully, or luckily, there are a lot of tools that make life a bit simpler for the finance side to try to model businesses. Not comprehensive planning, meaning people doing bits and pieces everywhere, the finance team putting it all together, and somewhere along the lines realizing that things don't match and making last-minute adjustments. Again, plans that are difficult to explain, inaccurate, poor data quality. We talked a lot about all this. All these trends that are leading us to implement these kind of solutions basically need bigger and more granular data, as we were saying, more self-service, central data hubs, we will be talking about this, create value for the organization, this is absolutely critical, fast thinking, and predictive planning. With all these different elements, we come to the idea of integrated business plan. So here we start talking about how CCH together can help. Many of you might have seen this design. Basically, this tries to depict all the different pieces that make up the targeted platform. So we have all the finance and consolidation piece, the corporate tax, this intelligence and reporting. But here we go into the extended financial planning, and this is exactly what we will be talking about. I will be making a demo of how we can put all these pieces together to help CFOs really be in the center of the strategy planning within a company. So, what do we try to obtain by using Tagetic in integrated business planning? First of all, we want to make sure we take operational planning capacities. We really want this tool to be helpful not only for the finance team, but also for the operations area, which is a big challenge already, but don't worry, there are solutions for that. We want to make sure that we can plan our cash flows, and those cash flows are visible all the way through the organization. We want to make sure we do know the costing and allocate them properly, so to be able to analyze profitability all the way through. We want to be able to measure performance as close as real time as possible. We want to support rolling forecasts. I think most of you must be past the times where there was just one yearly budget and eventually a review during the year. Now we're talking about monthly rolling forecast. We always want to see a year ahead, and obviously be able to explain what happened and what can be done. So what do we expect? We want to expect really to break down barriers, meaning we want all the different areas of the organization to work together. We want to see what happens on decisions that the operations may make, what is the impact in the cash flow, things that not necessarily the operation can see so easily. We want to be able to identify the profitability. We want to be able to evaluate changes, and we want to understand well what the impacts of the decisions are. So, how does Tagetic support integrated business planning? We can support the sales process through the automated demand planning. I will do very brief demo on that. We want to know if marketing is coping with the demands. Obviously, IT needs to be involved. Finance, can we still get our targets? The supply chain, does the supply chain really support what we're doing? Do we have enough resources? So hopefully in the demo I will conduct now, you will be able to see all these pieces together. Now, why can we now show it? Well, basically, finance needs to expand into operations. Supply chain needs to be able to see the impacts in finance of their decisions. And last but not least important, the technology is ready. We have now with Integrated a solution to make this possible. So, what does integrated business planning do? They allow us, the tool will allow us to work on budgeting, planning, forecasting, cash flow, capital expenses, workflows, production cost and control, supply chain. So we will have a group of processes based on financial performance and a group of processes based on operational performance, all of them working together in a single platform, shared by operations and finance. So now this is the moment where the truth. Okay. So let's see some product working now. For those who have already seen Tagetik, this is the well-known landing page of Tagetik. For those who have never seen Tagetik, this is the well-known landing page of Tagetik. You know, Tagetik has a number of different interfaces. Today I am only going to use the web-based interface. There's an Excel interface, there's a PowerPoint, and also a Word interface for different purposes. But today we will be using 100% the web interface. Again, for those, I'm going to address those who have never seen Tagetik. So for those who have never seen Tagetik, this is the process cockpit. Every process that is supported by Tagetik starts in this screen. So this is the one that Francesco announced is going to be revamped. There will be a full new one coming in June. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I've seen it. This is the one that we are using today, and our clients are using today. So basically, what this entails. A process in Tagetik has a similar definition to what a process has in true life, which is there are a number of participants. In this case, we have a number of entities, and behind those entities there are people responsible with different permits. Those people have to do something in a series, some sets of tasks in a certain sequence. Those sets of tasks are identified in the chart below. In this case, there are 5 steps. This is what Tagetik calls steps. So first there's the sales and cost plan, then the demand and supply. After that, we can work on payroll. After that, we can work on expense, and we end up with a plan, with a balance sheet and cash flow plan. The graphs above basically indicate where do we stand in the execution of these tasks. So there's a color code that more or less allows you in just one side, take a look at what's going on. Now, the example I'm going to show you today is it's built on a theoretical furniture manufacturer company, Jorge. It's not yours, it's a one in the same area. Sorry for those that don't see a transportation company or a bank. The example was made by Tagetik based on a furniture manufacturer. And the point where we stand, I'm not going to show you how a full budgeting process takes place, because that would take too long, but let's assume the process has happened already. Everybody has talked together. We have a plan. However, the plan is under review at this point. And a C-level executive takes a look at the plan, and he wants to see some strategic initiatives in this plan. Okay, fine, we have a plan. We have a manufacturing, selling, marketing plan, and so on. But now somebody comes with the idea and says, what if we would like to anticipate some of the sales of this new product we will be launching in the second half of the year? So we're talking about this initiative number 1. There's a product relaunch, which is already planned. It's embedded in the solution, which basically consists in launching a new product, which will generate 3,000 unit sales. It will generate, as compared to the original budget, the initiative already is hitting. There's an increase in the sales produced by this new product launch. It has a cost. We can identify certain average inventory. There's a number of operational measures like the average days of supply. There's an average order value. So this is already built in. We've decided to do that. However, this gentleman or lady comes with the idea of saying, what if we anticipate this launch and instead of launching it in September, we do it in March? So, point is taken, understood. Let's see how the full organization, which is involved in this initiative, this adjusted initiative, could react and how they could work with Tagetik to define that. So, basically, we have a form which has been built together with all the participants. The company manufactures a number of furniture, and now we are talking about launching. This is the brand new farmhouse table chestnut. This is the product that is a new launch. Now, for that particular launch, and I will have to reduce that way. Okay. For that particular launch, many people have got together to think about that particular launch. So, I don't know if you can see that, but there's expected release date in September. There are people involved in this initiative from products, from HR, operations, sales, and marketing. From a product readiness, everybody has indicated that yes, they are ready to launch as planned. From HR, there's a team of sprint people, somebody who will take care of that initial launch. They need one team based on the dedication that requires. It's 85% utilization of that team, so it looks like we are fine. So from staffing readiness, it looks we are okay. Now from operations, there are a number of things completed, so we're kind of good to go. And from sales and marketing, it looks like we are okay as well. Now somebody comes in and says, yeah, we planned this for September, but now we need this for March, which is the new idea. So we will change this to March. And all of a sudden, we have a few problems, but at least some. There are rules, obviously, that were built in. If we need to launch in March, we need to more people from the product area to be able to launch this. We have only one. We will overcharge our sprint team, so we need to resolve something in. We will need probably two teams, not enough with one. We will need two teams of people to come back to a reasonable utilization of the people needed for that particular initiative. And also, we need to make sure that this is incomplete, because obviously now we have one person planned, now we need two. So we need to make sure that this is incomplete. So let's keep going. We have our dashboard of how we will do with this particular initiative. So let's move forward. We will save this one, and then we will see what does HR have to say in this particular one. So if we now go, we have another portion of the HR planning. So in the HR for New York, in the marketing team, which is the one who we were missing. Okay. In the marketing team for the 2023 budget, it so happens that in our HR planning, there are plans to hire someone, but it's one person, the one that was going to work on the product launch, and as soon as this one comes, okay? I don't know if you can see that, but here we were planning to hire this associate in the month of August. And now, obviously, since it looks like we need 2, then we will need to change this to 2. So we can then tell that we have already the number of people planned. Obviously, when I save this, what it will do is we'll modify all the HR planning and the cost associated with that incorporation in that particular day. So it looks like HR is already planned, has already captured that particular need. When we work on HR planning, this is one of the ways to work based on an individual, on person by person. This is too small now. I will make it a bit bigger. Okay. This is a way of planning HR by starting by the current team with all the data about their payroll and dates and movements between departments, and if people are going to retire, and if we're going to hire, we take people on a general date. So when we run the calculation, this one will take care of computing the full calculation of cost of salaries. Okay. Now, let's go back. Let's see now the marketing team. How's the promotion planning working? What are these guys doing regarding this change? Again, we need to talk about the farmhouse table chestnut, which is the one we're dealing with. So let's see what marketing had planned for that launch. So for the launch of this farmhouse chestnut, basically they had a strategy based on a number of different marketing actions. These marketing actions have an estimated cost per lead and a conversion strategy. So depending on when the money is spent in marketing, those kind of campaigns, and the estimated cost per lead and the conversion strategy, the marketing team has defined that, yes, by spending these monies starting on August from December, they will end up with a demand lift of 800 units. And the number of units is a bit behind, a bit underneath. I don't think I can make it do this. Okay, measure this a bit. So, based on this investment and given that the investment will take some time to do the lift, we have these 800 units expected as a consequence of this marketing campaign that was supposed to be the one that allowed the launch in August. Now it looks like everything will have to happen earlier than that. So somebody in the marketing department will say, okay, fine. They are not asking us to spend more. What they're asking us to do is to spend it earlier so we can get the demand working. So those who know Tagetik, you will know that I can simply copy this. I made a copy. I will put all these monies in February, and then I will get rid of these ones. Okay, so now it looks like if we do this earlier on, we will get within the year, because in the old one we only had the initial 4 months, but now we will have the full 5 months. So we will have a demand lift of 1,000 units, which will happen starting in March. So let's call this campaign the Lisbon campaign. Okay, so a good number. I already have the Lisbon campaign there. And so this is the new plan for marketing to be able to cope with that demand of saying, let's plan for this launch earlier on. So we will save this. And so far, everything looks okay. HR is planning already for the people. Marketing is ready. And then I think all this happened in an Excel file or an Excel type file. So now let's see what production has to say. So if we go back to our global plan, you will see here that I have a small icon that essentially what we'll do is we'll connect to our supply chain planning platform. For those who have never seen the supply chain platform, here it is. This is the look and feel of the Tagetik supply chain plan application. It's integrated, as you can see, with a click. I just go to the second one. The two of them share the data platform. And I am now the guy who is in charge of making sure that that request of additional anticipation of demand can be really produced to be able to be sold. Small piece of the equation. Okay? So by sitting here, what I will see is I have a notification, and the system is telling me that there is something called the Lisbon campaign adjustment that's coming from the marketing team, and I need to take care of that one. So what I will do is I will go, using this link that I'm provided, I will go directly into seeing what I have to say about the capacity of anticipating that production, to be able to sell it, to be able to cope with our C-level executive demand. Okay? So here I am. This is the planning page for supply chain planning. Very different to what you are used to see in Tagada. Now, what do we see here in first sight? I'm not going to go into extreme detail, just demonstrating this product will take over a couple hours. But just, I'm going to show a few elements of what Tagetik can provide for this kind of situations. To begin with, let me tell you that this is the existing demand planning for this particular product in this particular warehouse. So somebody has already done that. We have filled in with the blue line since 4 years ago of the sales of the demand history. And what supply chain planning has done so far has been to try to determine the trend by using an artificial intelligence engine embedded into the product. So basically by using something called the seasonal vanguard damper trend, don't ask me what that particular means, it's a statistical method. Out of a good number of choices, the system allows for quite a number of different methods to produce projections. Essentially, I have let the artificial intelligence engine to look for one. Basically, it has come up with this projection. The red line is the projection method that most closely replicates what really happened in the past. There's a lot of tools to take out the outliers and all of these kind of techniques. And basically it has produced a demand estimation, which is the black line with a degree of uncertainty. We were talking a lot about uncertainty. Projections, planning is very difficult, basically, when it talks about the future, obviously. So the future is always uncertain. So what the system has done is has produced, this is what happened before this change requested. So I have this planned demand plus or minus 32%. So what happens is that the person that is receiving this is the demand planner. I says, okay, fine. I have this announcement here. Let's see what it looks like. So I will load the adjustment that marketing is proposing. So all of a sudden I have this Lisbon campaign. You may look at the second line that claims that in March, April, and July, if you remember, those were the numbers that the marketing team came up with, I have to produce that much. Now, from now on, there are a number of tools that the demand planner can really use, but to make a shorter story, I will go to say, the demand planner may say, okay, for April, we are fine, but for March, no way. I mean, there's no way I can jump from 267 units to 455 in March, no way, no way. So, sorry guys, thank you for the proposal, but I will do an override, and this is going to be 400. That's the maximum we can cope with. So, by doing an override, what I will do when I save it, I will modify the forecast by hand. So basically what this is doing is, I'm taking what artificial intelligence is telling me should happen, I'm taking the marketing suggestion for an increased demand, but in my own knowledge of what happens in my warehouse, what can be or not produced, I am the demand planner. I will come to this so-called consensus. Consensus can be reached in a variety of ways, but this is what is going to happen. So what I will do is save this before leaving the screen. But I wanted to show a few more things just to give you a flavor of this tool, which is far more than this what that we are seeing today. This tool works. This is the very first part of the full supply chain planning. So for the demand, this is what we can do. We can use our intelligence, artificial intelligence, different methods. I can load if I have the demand calculated somewhere else, I can load the demand, I can override it. But one way or another, I will come to a forecasted demand. And that is demand combined with my inventory strategy and my purchase or build strategy will let me define what will happen in my supply chain in the following year or so, which I have planned here. So what you see in this graph, basically this part that you're seeing here, you can see the green arrow are the replenishment activities in my warehouse, whilst the blue line it identifies what is the expected inventory at any point of time. So you will see my inventory goes up and down. And why does it goes up and down? It goes up and down. First of all, I have the demand defined on the top part. Secondly, I have a certain inventory strategy. I have a choice of inventory strategies. I may want to be very, very conservative on inventory and take a fill rate of 85%. If I take this one, if I take the fill rate of 85, that will mean that with the inventory level that I'm going to project here, I will probably be able to fulfill 85% of the orders I get. Obviously, that will reduce my investment, will reduce my financial plan, but it may result in a lot of lost business and claims from customers. I may go to a very high order accomplishment, which is going to make sure that in 99% of the cases I will be able to fulfill the orders. Obviously, my inventory will raise, and then my financial cost will raise, which is obviously a balance that it has to be captured. What we're using here is, what the system is using in this example, is the economic quantity to order rule. So it's actually calculated given all the costs I would incur in not fulfilling an order, in taking the side of every order that I place to my manufacturer or supplier. What is the best one? So it has come with this conclusion that will be the expected movement of my inventory. And since this system, it has to be connected to my ERP. What I know is that I have on hand, I have 235 units. That is where we start. If you look at that point out there, I'm starting at 235. On order, there's already an open order. This is coming from the ERP. So I know that I have an order date on August 20 for 20 units with lead time 3 days. So on August 23, I should be receiving 20. Therefore, to be able to comply with this projection, this is my projected schedule for orders. To be able to comply with this. Obviously, I can put this information back to my ERP because this one will not send purchase orders to anybody. I bring this back to my ERP for sending the purchase orders. The other thing that as a demand planner will be doing is, where am I going to source this unit from? In this particular case, I am in a special warehouse, and I'm sourcing it from the distribution center from Chicago. But however, I have two more alternative sources, which in case this one is not performing, I may want to choose to the other one. And I actually have the information that there's another warehouse who has 94 items excess to plan. So I may want to reach out to them and source from another warehouse rather than asking to the distribution center. And then I have this other one. And this graphic piece that is underneath is actually a graphical explanation of the MRP engine that is lying underneath this product. So I'm here, this is my warehouse, this is my table. I am sourcing it from a distribution center in Chicago. The distribution center in Chicago is sourcing it from plant 2. Plant 02. Now plant 02, if I click here, I will see plant 02 is actually, yes, it's sourcing the distribution center where I'm sourcing from, but it's also sourcing some other ones. So actually in the whole MRP for the whole entity, I have the full network of production items moving from one to another. Now, since this is the manufacturing facility, what I have to my left, in the left-hand side, are the different pieces and the bill of materials and also the elements required to manufacture this product. I'm not going to go further on that. If somebody is interested in learning about this product, we can schedule a conversation. That is kind of a big product. It takes a good while to look at it. Enough for this demo. Obviously, I could also see in this manufacturing facility the manufacturing plan, machine by machine, day by day. Again, very big operational planning product. But enough for this. I'm going to save the conclusion from the demand planner and come back to the overall finance. So something I need to do is make sure that we get that info back into our financial data. So once this is done, we will be ready to go to see where we stand with this request from our C-level executive who asked for all this work that we are now doing. So there's a report here which allows me to see what is the final outcome of all these interactions among the different people who participated in this simple question: what if we anticipate these 6 months? So it looks like now we have our 1006 units plan, but this would show how all the different people participating in this initiative have been reacting to this demand. And this shows the inventory analysis coming now from the finance standpoint and the order quantity, a number of operational elements that we want to see here. And then when we are done with this and everybody gets approved, we may get back to our head page and again see our executive dashboard and look that now the impact of that initiative doesn't seem to have come here. This is the problem of the direct. Something failed in my update. You should be seeing now, please bear with me and try to imagine, that we can now show our new unit volume as compared to what it was before. What is our average inventory quantity, the forecast average day of supply? Probably this one would not have changed because we didn't change the MRP. However, we should be seeing a comparison between sales and before and after. I'm sorry that this one does not want to see it now, does not want to show it now. And this ends my live presentation of the product. Sorry that it failed at the end. I think we have a few more minutes, 5-10 minutes if somebody wants to ask a question on how these products work or about our platform. Great, hopefully I did get nearly to my 3 challenges. First of all, finish in time, which is going to happen. Hopefully you didn't get bored, which was my second challenge. And the third one was that everything worked okay online and I got close to it. So thank you very much. We will be around if you want to talk about this later on. Okay? Thank you.